Welcome to another edition of V. Gandalf Demystifies. Today we're going to look at something that's a little bit magical. We're going to actually talk about how TraceFlow works and the port connection tool. And we're going to see just how much traffic gets generated as we move from one virtual machine to another. So if you're ready, here, take hold of my hand and we're going to perform this operation from here. So we're going to look at some packet flows on how they actually move between one virtual machine and another. Let's go ahead and begin. Here's our intro. Now, as you can see right here, I've got a switch set up with three virtual machines on one switch. It's Sackville, it's Frodo, and it's Bag End. I'm only going to use Frodo and Bag End in this short example. And what I'm going to do is show how the packet capture on the VM NICs, on the actual physical hardware in an outward direction, will capture traffic. So I'm going to set up a packet capture on the uplink for VMNIC 2, which is my Geneva uplink. I'm going to direction outbound for overlay Geneva, and I'm just going to call that uplink PCAP. Then I'm going to do that on the sending on Frodo's machine, and I'm going to do that on the receiving or the bag end machine. And now I'll just go ahead and start that, and we'll run a quick ping just with 3 frames from Frodo to bag end. And then I'll go ahead and stop the capture on both of the machines. And let's take a look at that capture. Now, there is a lot of information that's included here. And most of it, bidirectional forwarding detecting, check. Is my tunnel still active? These are all going out from 51 in the case of 95 to 52 to 53, checking all of his tunnels. Okay, so that's traffic, and you see that that's taking place on both. Okay, that's traffic that's being generated by the bidirectional forwarding detection to keep tunnels up. That's not the interesting traffic that we're looking at. Now, the interesting traffic here is the ICMP echo request going from Frodo machine, the host that's hosting Frodo, to bag end, and the ARP reply coming from bag end to Frodo. So we see that there's 3 packets on each of those, right? Because I asked for 3 pings. Instead of running a ping, I'm actually going to run TraceFlow. Capturing packets, we're still getting the same capture going on, but I'm going to run this TraceFlow. Okay, and the trace is going to be from Frodo to bag end. I'll retrace it because I ran that trace earlier. And now I'm going to retrace. Well, how much traffic did we just generate? Let's go back to our captures here, and we'll end the capture on each one. And once again, we'll do that TCP dump grepping for 10.2. 1 frame. 1 frame. Okay. How about coming back from bag end? Nothing. Nothing coming back. So TraceFlow operates by sending a single frame across the way. So for argument's sake, let's try it again, except this time, instead of running ICMP, I'm going to run SSH. So I go back to my TraceFlow and say, hey, you know what? let me edit that, and let's go TCP destination port 22, and let's run that trace. Okay, so we'll run that trace and see how much traffic is going to be generated when we actually have a TCP connection being made. Now, TCP, obviously if I did SSH, I'd get the three-way handshake and I'd get all that. Here you see the trace is going through and is being worked on all the way through. Now, let's take a look. Okay, we'll stop the capture on our TEPs. And look once again for one frame. We see that one went through on port 22, right there. And let's see about a return. Once again, nothing. So the amount of traffic that's being generated by TraceFlow is one frame from source to destination. So I want to check the port connection tool to see if port connection ingests a whole bunch of traffic or injects a whole bunch of traffic as well. So I got Frodo to backend once again. I checked the port connection, and now the port connection tool will tell us that Frodo, that's his virtual machine. There's his external ID, his IP address. Here's the switch port that he's connected to. Backend switch port or Bilbo's switch port, backend is identified there. And then we've got this tunnel and we show the up status for the connections all the way through. Let's see what was generated in our captures. And again, if we looked at all the traffic without filtering it, we see lots and lots of frames. Without filtering, lots and lots of frames, primarily bidirectional forwarding detection. We've got the tunnel. We're keeping the tunnel alive. Now, let's just filter because we ran our port connection on the same 10.2.10 network. Nothing. So the port connection tool generates zero traffic on your actual underlying network as you're running to check your port connections. And that's it for this episode of V. Gandalf Demystifies, with the episode on TraceFlow and port connection, when we went there and back again. Come back and join us for another episode.
The Gandalf Demystified.